Welcome to the Kinetic Belief Podcast. I'm so excited to champion and encourage you every week, right here.
Pushing the boundaries of expectations and rewriting the rules of adventure are the reasons we get up in the morning. This is a way of life, a huge and growing community of explorers and adventurers, leading the way, blazing new trails, and raising the bar. We share your hunger for a life without limits, and we know you'll stop at nothing to get there.
Hi, Megan. Welcome to 12,000 feet above sea level.
Whew, I am sucking some oxygen.
Isn't it nice, though, the fresh air? Oh, my goodness. We were just talking about how amazing it is to fill up your lungs with just fresh, pure, clean
Smells
air.
like a Christmas tree exploded.
And aspen.
Up here.
Aren't the aspen beautiful?
They're beautiful.
Yeah, there's the long-range view just on the other side of this grove.
Everything is so healthy and vibrant. All the colors, everything is so green. The sky is bright, bright blue.
And if you are listening to the podcast and you're not watching, we're probably 15 miles from the nearest road.
Yes.
We four-wheeled it in a Jeep straight up a mountain here in northern New Mexico on the border of Colorado in the Rocky Mountains on a beautiful August day.
It is good for the soul, isn't it? Just to get away from crowds of people and take a moment to breathe fresh air and look up into the sky and meditate on what the heck you're doing with your life and figure a few things out and just kind of recenter.
Well, I know that a lot of our followers, they know that we do spend most of our time in the Rocky Mountains for that very reason, that to come in touch with that creative plane of existence, that we get away from man-made things. And we come up here to where we can meditate, cleanse ourselves, find that perfect place of peace, become introspective enough to where we begin creating the perfect life.
I think you find true originality up here. If you're always being bombarded with the ideas and products of other people, it's very difficult to see through that and decide on what's really right for you. What do you really want, and what kind of things make you genuinely joyful and happy.
That's so true, and all of us are different, and that's so vitally important for anybody that's using the law of kinetic belief to attract the perfect life, to first of all understand is that you are different from anybody else as a creator. You're having a physical experience, you're in the physical now, and you are here as a creator. And most people will spend their entire lives not really happy because they are creating someone else's desires. Desires is a misunderstood thing. You are, as a creator, creating desire. Desire is just nothing more than a strong feeling. And so if you are harboring a strong feeling of something you don't like, that's the desire that you're creating.
Well, I am very excited about today's topic. What are we talking about?
Today we're talking about creating and attracting the perfect health. That means physically, the weight that you desire, perfect health, mind, and throughout your body, all of your organs, your skin, everything just absolutely working and functioning the way that it should be.
This is a big one because everybody has something they're working on health-wise. We all do, whether it's just you want to lose a few pounds or you have you've been told by doctors that you have a very serious illness and you're figuring out what to think about it and what to do about it. We all have something health-wise that we're working on at all times.
And that's why most people are unsuccessful. When they want to lose weight, rarely are they able to. Wanting is not the same thing as desiring, because when someone wants to lose weight because they have a strong feeling that they're overweight, they're desiring being overweight.
Wow.
And so what they are doing is kinetically attracting more than enough. They are attracting and creating the overweight condition.
That's a great
and
point.
And so that you have to completely turn your thinking around. If you want to perfect weight to become you, you have to make sure that you've leveled the creative plane to where you are desiring only that perfect weight and you are not disliking the overweight.
Wow. So focusing on being overweight will keep you overweight, or focusing on cancer will either give it to you or keep you in that place of sickness.
Don't read the medical journals. Don't go online and Google symptoms. Don't look for the bad. Don't meditate on the bad and the horrors of sickness, because that develops a strong feeling within you. And that strong feeling is, remember, the definition of desire is a strong feeling. So if you have a strong fear, fear is a feeling. If you fear sickness, fear cancer, fear being overweight, you're actually desiring that. I know that's
Wow.
difficult for a lot of people to understand, but we're working on attracting the perfect body, and this is why leveling the creative plane is so vitally important. Before you begin trying to kinetically, using the law of kinetic belief, kinetic is nothing more than adhering to and relying on the belief that you have, making sure that it is not in addition to a strong feeling or a fear of having the thing or a fear of being overweight. You have to replace all fear with gratitude, looking for the good in all things, not fearing anything. If you have fear toward anything, then you need to go into a time of meditative practice, come into a place where there are aspen, go into the mountains, the Rocky Mountains, get away from the noise of men. Get away from the thoughts of fear. Replace that with that level, creative plane of thankfulness and gratitude, and begin the process of using the law of kinetic belief to attract perfect health.
And gratitude, that's a really powerful tool in all of this, I think, because it's going to keep you, instead of, I think gratitude will keep you being pro-health instead of just being against sickness.
That's correct.
And there is a huge gap of a difference between those two things.
Well, gratitude is a tool for making sure that we remain on a creative plane of attracting good things. If there's anything in your spirit, anything in your soul, in your thoughts that is something other than gratitude, then you're not ready to begin creating. Because that means you have a strong feeling for something that you're not thankful for. And that strong feeling, remember, the definition of a strong feeling is desire. And when you begin putting that out into the universe, you're putting it out there whether you want to or not. But that's the thing that you are attracting. That's why you should not ever be in the practice of judging other people, harboring anger at the person in traffic. Somebody cuts in front of you in line, and you diminish yourself to their level plane of creativity. Remember, all of us, every person on the planet is a creator. We are all here having a human experience as creators. And what we're attracting and drawing into our own experiences are the things that we have the strongest feelings for, good or bad.
I've always thought health was one of the most difficult topics to cover when it comes to attracting health and believing for health, especially if you don't have it, because it so deeply requires you to really ignore everything you're experiencing in the physical and replacing it with all of these desires and what you want to manifest. And frankly, it can be very difficult to ignore and to move beyond what you're feeling and seeing and literally experiencing.
The reason for that is because health is the closest thing that we have to death. And death is one of the biggest fears that the human experience has.
Wow.
And so the little pain that you have in the small toe, the little toe on your foot, if you think about it and you harbor those thoughts, you can have it being blown up into something that will take your life. Fear.
Wow.
Fear is a very strong emotion. Fear is a strong feeling. It is a desire. And the thing that you're desiring is the very thing that you are sending out, vibrationally speaking, into the universe and attracting into your life. And the very thing that you fear will come against you as a creator. So meditation is so important. Peaceful place is so important. Turning off the noise of the world, the news of the world, the bad reports, the possibilities of all the things that you want to avoid. Get rid of those things, because those suggestions are suggestions of creativity coming from someone else. Remember that it is our purpose and our place in this life to begin creating the perfect life and experience around us. And you have to be in control of your thoughts, casting down all imaginations and anything that would come in there and replace those thoughts of a place of perfect peace, the life that you're designing right now through the law of kinetic belief, attracting the perfect health that you want.
So when I'm in those moments of where the thoughts are, they feel overwhelming, they're bombarding you, me. Let's say that you've had a bad report from a doctor and fear is quite literally just gripping you. How do you change those thoughts? How do you turn that corner so that you can start overcoming what the sickness that is trying to be put on you?
Remember, information coming in is not information going out until you've harbored it. If you can't do anything about thoughts and imaginations coming in. That's a fact of this existence that we're in. Mm-hmm. But you can prevent. It's like a bird. You can't keep the birds from flying over your head, but you can prevent them from building a nest in your hair. So those thoughts and suggestions will come. Don't seek them out. If you get the bad report, immediately replace it with the good report, and you are the creator of the good.
So I guess that's where affirmations come in. You speak a lot about affirmations, from saying them, muttering them to yourself as you go throughout the day, or writing them and putting them up around your house, on your mirror, on your dashboard, on your fridge. Is that how you reshape your thinking about
Absolutely.
a thing?
I am the healed. I am whole. I have a sound mind. My organs are functioning as they were meant to. There are no spiritual and soul birth defects. I am made perfect. I am here for a creative purpose. And I'm sending that out into the universe, and I am attracting the very thing that I am speaking. Words are things. We create with the words that we speak. And so as soon as you have the idea and the thoughts and the correct information, and you've leveled the creative plane of creativity, begin to speak, put words behind the very thing you are desiring, and the force and the power of those words then begin to create the circumstances.
Wow. What kind of role do you think that outside influencers play in not just receiving your healing, but in maintaining it?
Oh, it's tremendous, and that's why we're here in this aspen grove, because we don't want the other information to have to consider. Once you know your purpose, once you know what a perfect life is for you, never confer with man again. You are the creator of your perfect life, your perfect existence. You have you've spent time looking inward, and you've come to a place of peace, knowing what your purpose is in this life and how you're going to be able to give to your fellow man, be it through art or just showing up somewhere to make sure that someone's life is better.
That's very empowering, just to think that if you cut off negative influencers, you're actually making a lot less work for yourself spiritually and mentally.
That's correct. Absolutely. And you will find, again, you mentioned this earlier, all of us are creators. Everyone is creating. You're creating, and so are other people that are trying to influence you with perhaps the negative thing. And that's a good way to quickly check, is this something that is for you or not? If it's not positive, then stay away from it. If someone is in disagreement with your peace and harmony and your purpose, then you're going to have to stay away from them.
Wow. So controlling those outside influencers, controlling your thoughts by speaking these positive words. What are some other ways that we can, you talk a lot about, I want to touch on this for a second, you talk a lot about maintaining your healing, which I think is a really interesting turn of phrase. What do you mean, first of all, first question, by maintaining your healing, and then how do we do that?
Well, first of all, most people, they come about, or they approach health with something like, well, I'm sick, so I'm trying to become healthy. And the problem with that is that the acknowledgement of being sick. Belief is to adhere to and rely on something, be it the actual fact of what you see or not. Belief in being whole and healthy has nothing to do with the actual circumstance. It has everything to do with what you're creating. Mm-hmm. If the doctor says that you have cancer, cancer's not the truth. Cancer, in fact, is nothing more than a symptom that you are casting down and replacing with the fact that I am whole and healthy and I am strong and I have nothing wrong with me. Well, somebody might look at you and say, well, that's foolish. But you know what? As a creator, you and I have the ability to call things that be not as though they were. And that's what we do, is we ignore decay, and we align ourselves with increase. The universe is expanding. Expansion is health. And when we are in alignment with expansion, then we are increasing and we're growing. If we're not, then we are decreasing and dying. And so we are at all times coming in alignment and agreement with one of those two forces. Decrease and decay is negative. Increase in health and life and prosperity is to be preferred. And that is, we have to make sure we're in alignment with that. And that's what I mean by leveling the creative plane through meditation and checking yourself to see if there's any harboring of bitterness towards someone else, if there's any fear working in you, not just toward your health, but maybe toward a job or a spouse or a child. You have got to get rid of the fear that is in your life, that animosity, the bitterness, the dread, whatever it is, and replace it with gratitude in order to level the creative plane and begin the process of attracting perfect health.
Wow, that's extremely powerful. And I have to say, I like being reminded about maintaining my healing because I usually think about healing when I have a cold or when something is out of whack in my body. And then it's just like this whack-a-mole with your health sort of thing. Instead of just saying, you know what, I'm going to receive healing today and I'm going to receive it for the rest of my life. And I will be the healed and I will be healthy and whole forever.
And so the person who feels like they have the symptom of a cold should never say, I have a cold, because the very thing they're doing is possessing it.
Yes.
They are claiming
Wow.
it. Words are things, and you are establishing a thing as true in your life as soon as you say, I have, and you fill in the blank. If you have a cold, then that has absolutely rooted itself in you. If you are, regardless of a symptom of or a sniffle or whatever, if you are the healthy person, if you are whole, if there's nothing wrong with you physically, that cold that's trying to come in and take root in you will have no place to harbor or attach. Remember, you have final authority as a creator in your life and your body, and it's what you say that actually ultimately matters.
So when you feel a symptom, at the very least, just keep your mouth shut.
Absolutely.
At least
Do
don't
not,
say anything
Isn't
bad.
that it? And that's a great point, because the temptation is to start telling people around you how bad you feel. I don't have a cold. I've got this. Well, as soon as you say I have, that means you do possess.
And that's another reason why it's so important to watch who you hang out with, because I know of, people that their circle of friends has a very real culture of only talking about sickness. Well, this is wrong with so-and-so, this is wrong with so-and-so, and that will lead you into maintaining sickness instead of healing.
People are creators, and in that place of creativity, they are at all times communing either with positive energy or negative energy. There's not a third. And so you can either be one who is you're a kinetic believer attracting the perfect life, or you're double-minded, you're back and forth between negative and positive and negative and positive, meaning that you're still a victim to circumstances, or you're a victim to what someone else is creating. Remember, everyone is a creator. Or you are a curse dweller, and everything you say is negative. Negative energy producing negative things. You are in agreement with decay. You are in agreement with decrease, and that always leads to death. The promise is, as a creator, when you come into the physical, you can live as long as you desire to live. When you are then satisfied, that means it's time to move on into the non-physical.
So let's say that a doctor told you that something was terminally wrong with you. That's the report that you got. What's your next step? What would you do? Because I know that there are so many people out there, and they hear these things, they get these reports, and I think it's so shocking that you almost freeze up spiritually. It's almost hard to even know, what on earth do I even do next? Where do I go home? What do I say? What do I think about this?
Doctors are also creators. Doctors have dominion. You have dominion. You have final authority. A doctor has final authority. And if you bend a knee to the final authority of another creator, then they have now power that they are possessing over you. And it is only when you, through fear, adhere to the very thing that you are then relying on, it will come against you. But as you being the person, as a creator with final authority, it's what you say about the bad report and not the person that is trying to give you the bad report. There may be facts in it. There may be symptoms that are involved with it, but at the end of the day, it's going to be what you say about it that through the law of kinetic belief is going to attract that very thing that you are believing for, that you are purposing to believe for. Remember that it is the strongest feeling that is the desire.
I love what you just said, that, maybe what the doctor, what someone told me about myself is a fact, but I know the truth, and
That's
I will
right.
only speak the truth and what I believe, and that's what will manifest.
There are countless stories of people who've been told they were terminally ill that walked out of the hospital weeks
Yes.
later, and there was not a
Yes.
symptom or a sign of what was going to take their life.
Yes, there are so many stories like that.
That's exactly
They took
right.
control. They said, "No, you don't. I'm not done yet."
That's exactly right. You are the creator, and we have the ability to attract the very thing that we are kinetically believing, and the universe will always respond to the very thing that you have the strongest feeling for.
I think the law of kinetic belief, I think it rewards aggression. It's sort of like kicking a soccer ball. You can tap it and it can go a few feet, or you can kick it with everything that you have and you might get it to the other end of the field. Those are two very different outcomes. And I think your level of aggression going after your healing, I think it absolutely matters and will show up when it manifests.
That's the kinetic to belief, and that's why it's so important that you get into places like this where there's not a contradiction to the thing that you're believing for, because it adds strength and it adds aggression to that belief. And it's an unchallenged belief is one that will absolutely produce.
Wow, that's beautiful. Well, again, time is up.
Wow.
What?
I know,
It went
right?
by so fast. That's crazy.
We're going to have to start getting some of our listeners to come out here and join us
I know.
here in the wilderness for a time of creating.
Some wilderness retreats, but also a luxury wilderness retreat. We won't be in yurts or
Right.
anything, as much fun as those are.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
But more information about retreats will be on the website, so that's very, very exciting. We can all come together. And isn't that one of the most powerful things? Participating in kinetic belief yourself is life-changing, but being surrounded by like-minded people, I think that sends you through the roof. It gets you way down the road.
What a way to live. Using the
Yes.
law of kinetic belief to attract the perfect life is the way to go through this and not miss one day of your experiences on this planet from creating good things for you
Yes.
and those that you love as
Yeah.
well.
Well, I can't wait to see where we end up next week for this podcast, and it's always an adventure.
Our listeners need to be going to StephenCanyon.com.
Yeah.
StephenCanyon.com for materials, books, other
Yes.
podcasts, answers to some of life's hardest questions.
Yeah, and you can actually watch the video version of the podcast and see where we are every single week. This has been great. Thank
It sure
you
has.
so much.
Oh, I love it, Megan. All right. Talk to you later.